It's something I genuinely really enjoy doing. So, I think that shows in the stuff that I produce. I want it to be better because I want it to be better.
Yeah.
It's I want the customer to have like the best experience possible and have more options. And, be able to control things in different ways.
Yeah.
So it's something I've really worked on for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And you can see it in my past pedals. You can see the progression.
Yeah. It's super cool. Very cool. Yeah.
So my name's Brian. Bookmark Pedals is something I started in 2018. Basically, I had learned how to solder. I had been into pedals like really deeply since 2012, and I really liked using utility pedals to kind of be able to play the board as well as play the guitar. I was in a band that did a lot of ambient stuff, and it just worked really well that way.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome to Not Another Guitar Pedal. It's the show where I come on here and talk about guitar pedals, guitar effects, and things to make your guitar sound not like a guitar. Utility pedals. We may have them, we may not have them. We may think that we need them, we may not think that we need them. The point is that they exist, and we very likely have at least one utility pedal on our board. Perhaps the most ubiquitous utility pedal that all guitarists should have on their board somewhere is some sort of tuner pedal. I'm sure we have one of these. This one is a little busted right now, but we make it work. Some of us might be going ampless and be using DIs every day. I would say, a DI box like this one is also a utility pedal. On the more boutique side of things, I would argue the 29 pedals, EUNA and OAMP, also fall into the category of utility pedal. These lovely units over here are highly effective buffers, and I like using them at the start and end of my chain, and these are being used throughout this video. All right, let's see what else I got here. Some may argue that an expression or MIDI controller can also fall into the category of utility pedal. Over here I have this Maris preset selector, and it's 4 little switches here that interact with Maris pedals and other pedals as well. But we are not necessarily talking about utility pedals or expression pedals from these brands. Today we are talking about utility pedals and expression pedals from Bookmark Pedals. I think some of the most creative designs are coming from Brian and Bookmark Pedals out of New Jersey. Just take a look at this art on this Momentary Disconnect V2.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to define what a utility pedal really is, because it can be an active pedal, it can be something like a compressor or an EQ.
True, yeah.
Like, I think those can absolutely fit the definition of a utility pedal. They're universally needed in some ways. So it's not something like, oh, I just like the way that this distortion sounds. It's, no, I need some kind of compression. I need some kind of EQ.
Right.
To do this thing I want to do.
Yeah. The Momentary Disconnect V2 is a momentary mute switch and also kill switch. So think Buckethead meets guitar pedal, and with this no-click switch, your guitar signal turns on and off. Pretty cool. Another staple of Brian's designs are definitely his expression units. This is sort of a one-output expression controller with a big-ass knob. You gotta love that knob. It is used to control expression values on other guitar pedals. And something like this can be used very creatively. This giant knob over here is easily accessible on the foot. And the nice part about these units and units moving forward is this sweep reverse switch, which I'll demo in a little bit. So among these pedals, Bookmark Pedals also makes tap tempo units, stereo expression units, and also volume controlling pedals. Something to keep in mind is that all of Bookmark's designs are passive, so you don't actually need to plug them into your board. You won't be wasting a slot or whatever. Now, one thing that we have to talk about is definitely the art of all of these units. Each pedal is handmade, hand-wired, and utilizes unique art from antique books, newspapers, magazines, you name it. That's what sort of creates the unique and eye-catching appeal to these pedals. Brian definitely makes the idea and the look of a utility pedal a lot less boring. Don't want to point any fingers here, but most of our utility pedals probably don't look super duper cool. However, if you choose to plug it in, the LED will start to indicate the status of the pedal, and the pedal will look a little bit more colorful.
For the most part, it's literally just wiring from one part to another.
Yeah.
And, just doing it in certain ways that you can get, like making the switch reversing, or the sweep reversing switch.
Yeah.
It's just wiring it the correct way so that it does reverse the sweep of the
totally.
So it's a lot of wiring, a lot of just all done by hand.
Yeah.
I do it in steps because it's just like it's a lot to make each pedal.
Yeah.
Some pedals definitely easier than others. And that's why I have the master pedals, but it also takes a couple tries to get the layout right.
Oh, totally.
So that's why I end up with having it's like, okay, these are the measurements I'm going to go with from now on.
Yeah.
I put them on an enclosure and that stays the way it is.
Totally.
That doesn't get drilled.
Yeah. Your bookshelf. So when you're picking out art, like, are you making a copy of what's in the book, or do you mangle that piece and it's gone?
So at this point, and what I've done since the beginning is I use the actual page that's in the book. So it gets used once and then that's done.
It. Yeah, that's cool though.
I have started to scan those images in before I use them.
Yeah.
I have a really nice scanner and printer, and I've made collage pieces digitally before. So I kind of want to keep track of the things that I use up. I don't know if I'll end up ever printing artwork for pedals, certain ones. Other than I do have one that will be coming up that has a collage piece that I made.
Oh, that's really cool. That'd be sweet. Yeah.
But yeah, I could get into digital printing and not using the original, but for now I still really like working with the original books.
Yeah.
It's definitely a challenge because every old textbook or encyclopedia or magazine, they all have different types of paper, and sometimes the paper doesn't react so well with the things I use.
Yeah.
Like the glue that I'm using, or the paint, or the clear coat that I put on. So it's interesting that you have to kind of work around that sometimes.
Yeah.
There's some that are definitely way easier to work with than others.
Totally.
And especially if they're that tends to be the newer stuff is a little bit easier to work with.
Yeah. Well,
the older the paper is, the more fragile it is. It's a little bit harder.
Yeah. Well, that's cool though. It's like you have a little library of things you can use, and I mean, it certainly makes every pedal feel unique, which is really, really cool. It's like a one-of-one thing, Is that something that you like the idea of, or are you kind of thinking in the back of your mind, maybe one day I'm trying to do a release that's okay, there's 12 of them, they're all the same. Or do you like the one-of-one thing? Is that something you're wrong with?
I started out with, basically just wanting to do the one-of-one. Every pedal is individual, every pedal is unique. And that's what I've done up until, I'm continuing to do that now. There is a thought, that at some point it ends up being, so having the collection and keeping it, and keeping everything up to date, and, replacing things that I used on other pedals, not necessarily the same book, but the same subject matter, gets expensive. After a while.
Right.
I've been collecting the books for 5 years for the most part.
Yeah.
I had some stuff before this, but I've spent a lot of money on books.
Totally.
That's my thing. That's because I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But it definitely, people have really taken to the vintage
Yeah.
stuff and the antique stuff. It just has a great look to it, and I've always liked older books and how they age. And,
Totally, yeah.
You know, how the paper changes color and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to share that with other people.
Yeah.
You know, through some form.
Yeah, no, it's
And I'd done it in the past with different art forms, but then decided, you know, like, I'm going to try building utility pedals, and this is going to be my thing.
Yeah, that's cool. You're owning it, and I love it. And that's the thing. I wanted to ask if it was like your things and if you mangle the books yourself, because that'd be ridiculous. It's like, oh, this Brian guy comes into the library, takes all the books, and just fucks them up. Like, that'd be ridiculous. Yeah. That'd be ridiculous. But no. These are your books. You're paying for them. It's All right now we're going to do a quick demonstration of the Momentary disconnected V2 and just demonstrate how effective this thing is at muting your guitar signal. Right now I got the Dream 65 cranked to the maximum gain, as well as an additional distortion pedal, the Champion Lucky Fetal Boost, also cranked to just about maximum gain. So let's take a listen here. Here is the pedal turned off and back on. As you can see, very effective. Let's hear that stutter now. Very nice.
I just try to get the best, like the best components that I can, the best switches, the best knobs, the best potentiometers. Mm-hmm. I started out using cheaper parts, like everyone does.
Yeah.
And I still haven't had anything come back to me broken. But over the years, I updated, what I would be using, and used higher end jacks, higher end switches, and all that stuff's just built so well that, you know, once it's all in place on the pedal, it just feels solid.
Yeah,
you know,
it really does.
It's just really good quality parts.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
The enclosures are like straight from the manufacturer. Most pedal enclosures, the different shapes are called Hammond something. So it's like a Hammond 1590A is one shape. The shape you have is a 1550P.
1550P, nice.
And there's a lot of clones. There's a lot of clones of Hammonds, but that's actually a Hammond enclosure.
So I should feel privileged with my Hammond. This is a premium enclosure. Yeah. As we've seen, you can tell Brian and Bookmark Pedals puts a ton of work into these units. I want to thank Brian very, very much for sending me 2 units here today to demo. So we took a look at the Momentary Disconnect V2 as well as the expression controller, and I urge you and implore you to check out some of the stereo and dual output expression controllers that Brian has. But something very, very special and a first for the show, we will actually be giving away one of these Momentary Disconnect V2s. Bookmark Pedals and I have teamed up and we'll be giving away one of these units to a Instagram viewer. So here are the rules. It's pretty simple and low stress. All you have to do is All right, that about does it. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Brian and Bookmark Pedals for everything and being on the show and sending me these lovely units. Hopefully we'll see you on the next one.